Okay, we're here to check out our first practice test of the second quarter. I bet you're excited for this. In our first problem, we're going to simplify an expression using what we know about PEMDAS and also by combining like terms. So PEMDAS tells me I can do parentheses first, and I have some parentheses here. So I'm going to add 5 and 2/10 and 6 and 8/10, and I'm going to get 12 times x. Take away, 25 divided by 5 is 5, 5x. Now I have two terms that I can combine. If I have 12 x's, take away 5 x's, I get 7 x's, which is our solution. All right, so now we have some water bottles sold in cases, and each case is $30. So if I drew a bar model, I can see that one case is $30, my second case is another $30, and I'm going to get C cases. And all those together is my total cost. So my total cost is going to end up being 30 times C, or C groups of 30. I'm going to split that with my 4 friends. So let's look at that. I'm going to take my total cost, and I'm going to divide it into 4 equal parts. And so that would be one possible correct solution, and that would be accepted for full credit. Now you could make it even simpler, because this really is 30C divided by 4, and 30 divided by 4 is 7 and 5/10 C. So this would be a simpler answer that would also be accepted. For this next problem, we just need to substitute in for S the number 4 and see if we get an answer of 96. So for this first one, it's 380 divided by 4. If I come down here, I get 95, and that is not correct. Okay, next one, I put in 4, and I get 4/6 plus 95 and 2/6. So adding 4/6 to 2/6, I get 95 and 6/6, which is 6/6 as a whole, so that's 96. So this is a solution that gives me 96. Putting 4 in for S in the next one, I get 164 divided by 4 plus 54. Dividing that, I get 41. So this is 41 plus 54, which is also 95. So no, it's not 96. Okay, I look in my parentheses, and I have an exponent, and that's what I'm going to do first. So 4 to the second power is 16. Next, I'm going to multiply, because that came before the division. So I get 32. Now, there's lots of ways to think about this division problem, 32 divided by 24. I could come to the side and divide that out. Thing is, I want to deal with fractions. So I want a fraction answer. So I'm going to call this 32 divided by 24 like that. And then I'm going to simplify that. 24 goes into 32 once, with 8 24ths left over. And that's 1 1/3 if I simplify by dividing top and bottom by 8. 94 plus 1 is 95. 1/3 plus 2/3 is 3/3, which is 1 whole, so that's 96. So that one is a correct answer. Lastly, I have 6 times 4 to the second power. 4 to the second power is 16, 4 times 4. If I multiply that, I get 96. So that is a correct solution. Okay, in this we are going to compare 5 to the second power to 2 to the fifth power. And to compare them, I'm just going to put them in standard form. So 5 to the second power is 5 times 5, which is 25. 2 to the fifth power is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which is 32. So 32 obviously is greater, so that's how they compare. Okay, so now, question 5. Lena uses 2 cups of flours for a batch of cookies. So here's our cookies. So it's 2 cups for one batch, and 2.5 cups for a loaf of bread. There's 2 1/2 cups. That gives me 1 loaf of bread. And then 1/2 cup for dusting, so we don't have things sticking. And we're going to make C batches of cookies. So there's my second batch. And I'm going to make C batches. And I'm going to make B batches or loaves of bread. So there's a second loaf. And here's B. It's 2. And then a half is a half. So I want all this together. And so for the cookies, I have C groups of 2. And for the bread, I've got 2.5 times B, or B groups of 2.5. And then the dusting is just a half. And if I want to know the total, I just got to add those together. So I get 2C plus 2.5B plus 1/2, which is choice A. All right, greatest common factor. Greatest common factor is the greatest, the biggest factor, numbers that can divide into something, that they both have in common. So if I have 15 and 25, I can see, listing out all their factors, that the one they have in common, the biggest one they have in common, is 5. For 40 and 70, here they are. And so again, the greatest one they have in common is 10. 45 and 23. For 45 and 23, the only factor they share in common is 1, because 23 is prime, and it's not a factor of 45. For 42 and 75, the greatest factor they share is 3. All right, for question 7, Miss Perkins wants to rent a car for the day. It costs a fee of $75 plus 55 cents per mile. So let's draw a bar model. So 1 mile is 55 cents, the second mile is another 55 cents, so on and so forth for M groups of 55 cents. And plus we have 75 bucks. So for the first bar, I'm going to have 55 hundredths M plus 75. And that's our solution. Okay, now for the next part, you just need to evaluate it, assuming that we went 300 miles. So we have 0 and 55 hundredths times 300 plus 75. Okay, so let's do a little multiplying on the side. We have to do 55 hundredths times 300. And move my decimal over 2 places. I get 165 plus 75. If I add those two together, I get $240. All right, question 8. Zoe's earning some money. $4 per garden watered and $4 per dog walked. She waters G gardens and D dogs. Let's make some bar models to look at that. And so it's $4 per garden, $4 per dog, G dogs, G gardens, D dogs. All together, this is 4 times G groups of 4. This is 4D, D groups of G, and we're going to put those together for the total amount. If we look at our choices, this one right away is exactly that. Now I can use the distributive property on this to find out another one. So let's look at some of the other ones though. This is 4G plus only 1D. Well, we need 4D, so that's definitely no good. And this is $4 plus the number of dogs times the number of gardens. That makes no sense. Again, 4 times dogs plus the gardens. That doesn't work. Let's look at this next one. If I can reverse the distributive property and get something times something plus something. If I pull out a factor of 4, 4 times G is 4G, 4 times D is 4D. So that looks a lot like this one, so this is a correct solution as well. All right, 9's pretty straightforward. Okay, let's look at number 10. At a health club, Lauren uses a treadmill every 2 days and the weight machines every 8 days. She used the treadmill on March 2nd, and she will use the weight machine on March 8th. And she says that the first time she will use both the treadmill and the weight machine is in March is the 16th. And she thinks that the LCM, least common multiple, of 2 and 8 is 16. So let's see if that makes any sense. First of all, let's find the LCM. You can see here that the LCM, least common multiple, is 8. So already her logic doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. If we look at it from a calendar perspective, the treadmill starts on the 2nd and it goes every 2 days. The weight room, she starts on the 8th. And look, on the 8th, she's doing the treadmill. And so the answer is no. Her reasoning doesn't make sense. She will be doing both on March 8th. All right, this last one we're going to be combining like terms to see if we get an equivalent expression to 18m plus 12. Let's look at these. In this first one, I have 6m's, another 6m's, another 6m's. That's 18m. We also had plus 4, plus 4, plus 4. That's plus 12. Sure looks like that matches. The next one, I have 12m minus 6m gives me 6m. And then plus 6 minus 6 is plus 0. So that is not a match. Distributive property, 6 times 3m plus 6 times 2 is 18m plus 12. So that is a match. This one I have 3 times 6m minus 3 times 4, which is 18m minus 12. Not a match. And this one, I have a p and an m. My original equation doesn't even have any groups of p. So this is not a match. So it looks like just 2 matches there. And that's it to the test. If you have any questions, please reach out, ask me. I can help you. And hopefully we'll start the second quarter off strong. All right, take care.